All righty. Welcome everybody to the Hurley Investments Trade Findings and Adjustments of November 2nd. Been an interesting week. Some good things, some very confusing things. All right. I'm ready. Let's get into it. I've got Meta up here. Obviously, I'd like to talk a little bit about Meta, but let's update our S&P 500 chart. Touched the 200-day here yesterday after big rally from the morning, and up because of the decision by the Fed not to hike for November rates, and jump today because based on what little Fed Chair Powell said, people are betting that we're done hiking rates. Obviously, that's not anything remotely close to a guarantee, but people, investors, and Mr. Market are betting that's it. So that is why we're up today. We talked last time more extensively about Meta's earnings, just killing it on ad revenue, making Google and Snap look like peons. Meta has been using AI to help with their ad targeting after Apple kind of made it difficult to for Meta, for Facebook in particular, to track people for ads. So I mentioned to look for a bottom in Meta and possibly buy some leap call options. Let's go back to Meta. Good day to look for a bottom on the 26th. That was the day I said to look for a bottom. Would have had Friday the next day. I added a 300 call just for myself out for a few months. That's looking great. I added more after yesterday. We popped above this 50-day on Meta. And of course, opened up way up at 318, and now we're down to just under 309. Isn't that just a piece of crap? Looking at my phone here with all of my ticker symbols of all my stocks that I have that I follow. And of course, Meta is one of the only ones down today. Everything is up like 1.5% or more. What luck, right? So, what do you do when your trade immediately goes the wrong way? That's a question for you guys. What do you do when your trade immediately goes the wrong way? Give me anything you think that you might do or not do or should have done previously. Abraham says 1, pray. 2, close before it is catastrophic. 3, go to the beach without internet. I like that, Abraham, but that's not a course of action necessarily that's helping. I can get with praying, sitting on your hands. Maybe you need to take a step away. That might be the case, Abraham. I'll backtrack a little, but I kind of hinted at it before. Jim said, before I answer, Jim said short call, but not sure. So yeah, I think you're on the right track, Jim. But let's think about this. Let's kind of take a step back and think about it. Before we even make the trade, what do we need to plan for? I'll do a sub point here. So this is another question for you guys. Before we get into a trade, what do we need to plan for? I'll give you the first one. Oh, I got a comment. Let's see. Secondary exit point from Bill. Maybe, but there's a lot before that. What is, let me say it differently. What is your confidence in the fundamentals of the stock? Another comment, validate strategy by seeing the cause. Validate strategy by seeing the cause. Let me say what I think you mean by that, Jim. The cause of where you think it's going, or the cause of, I'll have to let that one sink in. maybe you can clarify. So what is your confidence in the fundamentals of the stock? Great confidence in Meta. We had great earnings. I mean, this is the whole reason we got into the trade. Good earnings, and we still had a bit of a sell-off because some of the news that there were some states where parents were going after Meta because of they feel they're targeting kids. My thought on that is, if parents have such a problem with social media and their kids, why don't you get your kids off of social media? Pretty simple. Meta is going to try and track whoever's on there and give them what they think they need for ads. Your kids don't need to be on social media. Take away the smartphones. If they want a smartphone, tell them to get a job and earn money to pay for one. I don't understand why on earth we need to impose government regulation on something that parents are responsible for. Great. So Jim clarified some point trying to validate the fundamentals are still sound regarding the stock. So yeah, I mean, it's just after the earnings, the fundamentals are excellent. The other reason that it kind of dipped was they thought that the war in Israel and Gaza kind of put a damper on performance going into the last part of the quarter. And man, if that was a damper, I would assume most of that has already gone kind of played its course, and we're on to the next, quarter. Can't imagine it's continuing on that way as far as ad sales are concerned with having a war start up. I don't know. But don't think that's a huge concern because they did amazing on their earnings, and again, they would have had a lot of that. If there was any damper to be had, it would have already been done in spite of their earnings. So kind of think that one's BS. So just kind of thinking through the dampers, thinking through the downers, and knowing their fundamentals were very good and very sound. Bounce was in order. So we already know that's good. Pretty much every single stock is up today, except for a handful. So what is happening with Meta? All right, so the next thing I think we need to understand that in a trend, stocks don't always go straight up. You have to understand and know that to begin with. And because of that, need to plan for our exit price need to have lots of time. So you need to have, if you're only planning for a short-term bounce, or you're only playing a short-term bounce, give yourself extra time for that to make its course. Obviously, a bounce from what, 280, 290 up to 328, if that's your price target, that's where it's kind of struggled to get over in the past. If you're just playing a short-term bounce up to that price target, you figure that's got to happen in probably a couple of weeks. Give yourself a couple of months. I went out 3 months for a short-term bounce. I have stock in Meta, so I can play that beyond, not play, but I'm in it for the long haul, up above that shorter term resistance level that I can kind of make a bit up until that point and let my longer term investment in the stock itself make money as it heads above that. I'll say enough time. Parentheses, looking at a 2-week bounce, you need several months in an option contract. Next one. Strongly consider, not cider, a hedging option. My decision to go with a long call only just had to do with I have enough time, but also much more risky. My hedging option would look excellent today, especially if I'd put this on yesterday, somewhere in the neighborhood of, 305 to 308 and somewhere in the middle of where it was trading yesterday. And I had a 305 long against a 330 short call, something like that. Being negative from the close yesterday, that would be up for us, would be looking better. You could even have that option to close the short option. I would probably not be closing it just on a little bit of a pullback from yesterday's close. Maybe if it came down to 305, where we have the support level of the 50-day, you have that option to close that to lower your cost basis. Now you have a lower cost basis, let it go up. You're making both money as it goes down on a 1-2 day slide to continue up, as well as making it on the way up. So those are some of my thoughts. You got to understand how long you're looking at here. In this case, we're just looking at a couple weeks. You got to understand that there's going to be some up and down. Stocks don't always go straight up. A little confusing why Meta isn't going straight up, especially with everything today. But anytime You have a stock that's 10% up from its lows, 280, up past 305. You have that 8.33% herd profit taking mentality. So anytime you have a stock run up 10%, you have that herd profit taking mentality. I don't think it's herd as in here. So should I have known that? Maybe. Again, it opened way up at 318 to come down. But again, I am not playing this for one day. And even if it comes down to test the 305, the 50-day, I see no reason why a stock that has good earnings, good fundamentals, can't shake off a little bit of really unimportant bad news to head up because it is a bargain. All right. Obviously, this isn't guaranteed, or I would have waited till today to put that on. But I do have profit from down further below, so that gives me a little comfort to weather a little bit of a downer, because we had a couple downer days up here trying to get over the 50-day. I have enough time. So my trade, if I were to look at it today, I would say maybe even look tomorrow and see if it comes to test that 305, 304, 67 is right where that 50-day is. I would look, maybe add a bull call spread of, if it does go down to 305, you're looking at a 305, 320. You're looking at it today, maybe more like a 310, 330. There's absolutely no reason Meta can't at least get up to its highs, recent highs. Guys, is there any questions or other thoughts that you have? I would say go out January monthly. Again, this is with the idea that we have a bounce of a couple weeks. No reason why you can't go out another year to January 2025. And do something like a 310, 350. But that all depends on what you guys have, what you're already working with. Not seeing any questions or thoughts coming in. Thank you for your comments. You've heard us talk about it a million times. One day doesn't make a trend. We're already building a nice trend over the course of a week. So to circle it back to you, Abraham, I wouldn't say that praying is a bad thing. I'm a praying man. But if the idea that hope is your backup plan for the trade, then you've got it wrong from the start. And I know your comment was a tongue-in-cheek joke, and I like it. But for everybody, let's make sure we tick our boxes beforehand. Do the work to make sure we're looking at a stock with good fundamentals, preferably something we've been following a while, understand its support and resistance levels, its short-term likelihood of where it might go. All those things give you, better probabilities, more confidence. You're not just relying on hope that your stock is going to move the right way, and give yourself the time that it needs. Don't look at doing one day trades because your likelihoods and your probabilities are just really poor. All right, guys. Thanks again. Thanks for your comments. Take a look at that one. Something to to continue to keep an eye on. And we'll see you next time. Take care.